Okay, yeah, I've got some sound here, and I'm going to go ahead and go through the final exam part 1, which dealt with the access file and the Excel file. This is for BISS 1123, and I'm going to start first of all with the instructions, and so we'll flip down here and we'll take a look at them. And let's see here. I'll find it here for just a second. And here it is. Here are the instructions, and I'm going to open them up for us. Now, I also have them. I think I'd done a screencast, if I'm not mistaken, but we'll just walk through it. I ask you to go over to find that comma separated value file, and that's the one that deals with the app. And then I also give you a reference there about sentiment analysis and how we perform that. Then I ask you to create an access database and name it as this is shown. Like I put Keith Harmon part 1. So we'll do that, and I'll show you down here in the files. And here's of course the file that we use to scrape the data, and here's that database. All right, and this was the file after I had imported it. Now, if you take a look over at step 7, it says that after you import the file, it'll be necessary to change the properties of at least 2 of those fields. So I'm going to the design, and you needed to change the date to date time and rating to a number. So that was one of the first things you needed to do. That's step 7. Then step 8, I ask you to create a report. Tells me how many times the app received a rating of 8 by version of app, and how many times it received a rating of 1 by version of app, and then sorted on the basis of the newest to the oldest. And you also want you to develop an average rating per app. So we're going to start first of all with this design, and scroll up here for just a second. And we're going to sort these in ascending order, descending order. That way we get them from the newest to the oldest, and then the ascending order on the rating. And there's the data set. That's going to ask me to close that off. I'll close that table off, and then we'll run the query. And there's the version, and there's the ratings, 1 and 5. Okay. Now we're asked to do some other work with this, and this is where we're going to use the table to get that accomplished. All right. Now I'm going to click on Task 8, and here I have the summary for each version. I have the average, and I have those versions. Okay, and I wanted a 1 and a 5. Okay. Now I went ahead and included all of the 1.2, etc., but they're all here, and I have the average for that app. And then we have the summary of those records, and we have the averages. Okay. Now, many of you had simply invoked the table, and that's fine if you cared to do that. Now, you could do a little more extensive work with this. This was pretty much the minimum of what I expected, but I'm going to click Create, and I'm going to come over here and do a report wizard for a moment, and I'm going to get the query task gate, and I'm going to get everything over there. Okay, and Here I can group it by the version, and I have some grouping options. And I'll go next. And here I have some summary options for the rating. And I can get the rating. I'll click OK. I'll click next. And away I go. And so minimally, I should have seen something like that. Okay. Now I'm going to close that off, and we'll look at task number 9. And here is when we started to do some text mining. And as I'd mentioned in class a few times that we've done this, and I also ask you on 9 how many times per version per date the title contained the word excellent. So title was excellent. And I'm going to take this criterion, and I'm going to put it up here in a notepad so you can see it. This is from something else. All right, now I want you to notice something. On this text, we're using excellent is in text form. So we're going to do like, and then the 2 quotes that tell us this is text, and then we have the asterisks. Those say okay. You get anything behind and in front of, and then we have the text file, the word itself, excellent. So that gets us everything, every file that has that. And by version, okay, and then by date, and we put the date in descending order. We'll run the query, and there it is. So we have the title. Now on 8, they talked about the newest version, and then that's how we were going to generate. Pardon me, task 9, okay, and the title contained the word excellent. Now, again, that's what we were after in terms of a data set. Task 9 was just pretty much the same thing, but in this instance we used do not buy. Same technique. Task 11, same technique. And task 12, same technique. So this is taking us all the way up now to task 12, which says repeat task 11 before 12, limit your mining to the phrase easy to use. So we're doing some data mining, text mining. Now on 13, we're to use that, but limit it to the word convenient. Okay, and I had left 13 out here, although I've got the report. I just did a report on 13. I'll just open this up, and there it is. But I'm going to close this off for just a second, and I'll show you. When I have something like this, I can work off this algorithm. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it, and I'm going to call this task 13. All right, and I'm going to save it as such. And in this case, we're just going to use the word convenient. And I'd ask you to stick it to the word continue. I also said convenient to use, but let's just bring this on over. Just the word convenient. And we'll take a look. And there we are. And we've got that. So we've done the mining with this phase, and we've saved this. Okay. I'll close each of these. And there, of course, is task 13. Now, they ask us about this is in task 14, and you're interested in charting the timing of the ratings, okay? And this is where we're going to need to use Microsoft Excel. All right. Now, let's go back here for just a minute, and we want to look at this task 8. And we got everything from 5 or 1. Now, what we could do is we could run a query that would be tailored to exactly what we want. And we've got we could take this task 8, we could duplicate it, and we could also add the month. Okay, and we would already be limiting it to the highest and lowest ratings, which are 1 and 5. So we could run a query and accomplish that task. And so I'm going to add in a date. Let's see, I'm going to choose the field date. And let's see, I'm going to close this off for a sec. And I'm going to take task 8. And I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to paste it. And I'm going to call it for export. And you'll see what I'm going to do here in a minute. Now, this for export query, let's go back to the design view. I've got the version, the rating. I'm going to get the date. And I'm on task 14. And it said limit the analysis of ratings to those that were highest and those that were lowest. Well, let's take a look at this and see what we've got. Now, we'll want to do some ordering with the date, and so we could play around with it a little bit with the date. I'm going to sort it in, I guess, in ascending order. Let's see how that looks. Now, I'm also going to come over here, and I'm going to take a shot at this. And on the date, let's go in. I'm going to open this other table up for just a second. And I'm kind of doing this extemporaneously, but that's okay. I'm going to look at the design, and that's on a date. Now, what I want to do is go ahead and limit these down to that quarter of the April, May, June. I'm going to close this off. And I'm going to try something. No, let's go back and look at the dates for just a second. See, it's some of the deliberation you have to do. It's not a big deal. And the date and time. All right. I'm going to go back here for a moment on the rating. So I think we'll just go ahead and keep that, and we would just have to call that out. So I'm going to close the table, and I've got this ascending order. And let's run it. See what we got. There we are. And it starts in 2010, and of course it runs all the way. Pardon me. It starts at 2000. Starts at 2000. Ascending order. Let's put it in descending order and see what that looks like. That's odd looking. Okay. Oh, okay. It's going to be doing it by version. I got you. All right, because it started the working on the 5 or the 1, and we had that in ascending order. All right, let's run that query and see what it looks like. Okay, good. And we're going to close this off now. We have pretty much the data that we need. We'll save it. And I can export this. Now I'm going to right click it. I'll export it to Excel. And I'm going to put it on my desktop. And let's look at it. Let's see if we can find it. All right. And it should be down here. It should say for export, excuse me. A long day for all of us, I'm sure. All righty, let's find for export. And as I want to wrangle it down a little bit more. I thought I'd put it on my desktop, but this is a testament to getting your act together and not having a whole bunch of junk on your desktop. Here, is that it? No, that's fixing that. All right, just a second here. I've got so much stuff on here. It's just well, that's simple. It's just export to Excel, and I'm going to make sure I put it on my desktop as an Excel worksheet. So let's see if that's going to do it for me. And it says it exists already, so we'll close it off. All right, now. So I want to find the for export Excel file. And all right. I'm looking. This is, well, it's been one of those weeks. All right, I'm going to find it here in a second. I think I'll just search for it. It's going to search for me. And open it up. I forget that it's that white looking thing and not the icon that I expected to see. All right, that's my fault. Okay, now it is an Excel file. I'll make sure that it's saved as such. So I'm going to save it as on my computer, on my desktop, and I'll make sure that it's saved as an Excel workbook. Replace it. All right, here we are. Now if we want to, this critter is a little bit easier for us to work with for a very simple reason. I now can come in and I can manipulate this thing. Now, first of all, I have the version of app that I want. I have the ratings, 1 and 5, which are the lowest and the highest, and I have the dates. The dates I want to call out. So I want to get just those dates between, I want to get the dates for April, May, and June. So what I could do is I'm going to click on here and in the column C, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do a sort and filter. I'm going to do a filter. I'll click on it and it's going to select. Let's click at the date filters. And let's do all dates in the period. Now we're kind of just playing around with this. You know, all dates in the period. Let's see, it would be quarter number 2. And let's see what we get. All right. That's not too bad. I've got April, May, and June for 2010. Now I'm going to toggle this back off for a minute because I've got 2009 and 2010, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, I do. Now let's see if I've got any April. I'm going to look for any April in 2009. I'm looking here and I'm scrolling down. You can see I'm just visually doing it. Now, if I have a whole lot of cases, this becomes a little bit more pragmatic. But what I can do is I can go ahead and just do a sort. But I'm going to go ahead and, well, I'm going to do that. No, I'll just do the filter. And I'm going to do the filter. Get the date. And all dates in the period. And quarter two would be April, May, June. And we've got all the years. So let's take a stab at that. That'd be April, May, June, be quarter two. Now I have these data, and what I can do is just simply this. I have them all selected. Pardon me. I'm going to select all of them, and I can copy them. All right, and you can see the groupings on these, and the groupings are by rating. So I think what we're going to do here is, before we do this, is I'm going to come back over to the rating, and I'm going to sort from the smallest to the largest, so we get all the ones and all the fives. Okay, and we should have probably done a custom sort, but I'm in a position where I really limited the data down. Now you could have taken that chart and imported the data from Excel and done the work. All right, but I'm going to copy this, and then I can put it over here in another sheet. I'm going to paste. I'm kind of improvising. I'll just paste the values. And just the values. That's all I've done. Now I'm ready to do a pivot chart. So I'm going to click on all of these, and I'm going to click insert. Instead of a pivot chart, excuse me, I'm going to do a pivot. Yeah, I am going to do a pivot chart. Yikes. I want a pivot chart. And here we go. Now I'm ready to put the, I can put the ratings. Okay, here are the values. Drag those on down. And I've got the ratings. And I can put the version. I'm going to put that over here in the axis. And I'm going to put the date over here. I'll put the date in the axis. I'll take the version and put it in the legend. And you can see now with this pivot chart, I've got what I need. Now I'm going to close this off, and that was a bit of a way to get to it. And I'm going to show you, I've got over here the final exam stuff. I'm going to show you this key, and this is the data set. Let me see, I think this is I'll open this up. I believe this is where I had done. And I had to do a little bit of work. Yeah, this is just the data themselves. And then I had the Is that just the data again, or had I done the chart here? That's the data again. And I want this. Here's the data set. Maybe this is it. All right, there it is. Now that took me some time to get, but that would be the absolute ideal. It shows you the rating 1 by 5. It shows you the months, and you can filter at your will. That would be the ideal. Shows you the count of each version and a rating of 1 or a rating of 5. And I can click in here and you can see it. Now I've got this file as well as the Access file over in the Files section of Canvas. I've got them unhidden, so you can see them if you wish. Okay, so that's pretty much it as far as part 1, the Access and the Excel for BISS 1123, and that covers all of those tasks 1 through 14 for part 1. All right, now let me go back up here and we'll close this off, and we'll go back up, and I think at that point what you had left also would be some exams. I'll jump to today, and you had the exams 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now again, you're seeing this video so you can see the key, get an idea of what I did to perform all those steps. I also over here in the files, I have that the final exam materials. It's what it is. I have that there in a zip file. You can take a look. I have it published so you could see it. I've done this for both sections. Okay, folks, if you have any additional questions, get a hold of me. I'll be happy to try and answer them for you. Thanks a lot. And let me say this is pretty challenging assignment for your first time out to work with Access, certainly. And certainly the Excel was pretty challenging, because you saw as I started to work with it there, just on the spur of the moment, became a little bit of a challenge with it. But to get the ideal result, you start with a query and then build it and export it and into Excel, and then do the work and with the pivot table, which gives you the best chance to get that nice layout like I had. But you have to work at it some, and it takes a little bit of time. I think it was pretty forgiving on the charts. Most of you did charts that you might have just April or May or June. A few people had some pivot charts, but overall that was pretty good, not too bad at all. So overall, everybody did pretty good. I appreciate your hard work. All right, thank you so much.